Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Hot Pole Podcast. I'm your host, Adam Steele, and joining me, as usual, is Mr. Liam Wright. Hello.
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 How are you?
How is everyone? Hope you're all doing well. I'm very tired. How are you?
Sleepy. Also very tired. I've been staring at a screen like intently all day, trying to sort a very complex problem that I think I've solved. But yeah, just mentally exhausted today.
Cool. I'm more physically exhausted, just drained. That I've been moving everything around in the studio, preparing for filming, and preparing to film about 5 different videos. Also captured a cab for 2 notes today. And yeah, it's been a heck of a week, so I'm still catching up. As some of you may have known from last week's podcast, I was at Middle Farm Studios on the South Coast on Sunday and Monday, and that was amazing. Got to meet a producer called Peter Miles, and got to meet Nolly from Get Good Drums and Periphery and other things. What a lovely man he was. But that was something like 12 hours of driving to do that, which always takes it out of you. And yeah. Although, one little thing that's gone well today is I went to the corner shop to get some food before the podcast. For some crazy reason, I decided to get one of those lottery scratch cards. It was a £5 one, just won 200 quid.
Whoa! Awesome.
Yeah, I know, right? So, woo! Completely random. And yeah, I never do that as well. Something just was like, you should do this. I should do this. And so yeah, that was weird. But yeah, it's been a good week. I've met some great people. I'm ready now to film like 7 videos tomorrow. I've got more videos to edit for people as well. I've got to finish off the video that we were doing for MPB, which yeah. But just as a little twist, while I've been away at Middle Farm Studios, my lovely wife's sister came to visit, and just as I got back, she tested positive for the thing, the thing that you don't want to get. The thing, yeah. So I got home, completely kept my distance, grabbed what I needed to grab, and ran. So yes, I'm at Studio A for the next couple of days, which I'm not complaining. I love Studio A. This is where I like to be, but it does mean I have to have some time away from the family, which is the downside. But making the best of the situation, because oh boy, that was a unexpected twist. Yeah, it's been a week of unexpected twists.
Not fun.
No, but it'll be fine. So yes, I'm on the webcam, which is why my camera isn't looking particularly pretty today. But that's just an improvised setup, so I didn't have to scramble and reset all the cameras now that they're ready for lots of videos. Because yeah, I'll be doing a video for Get Good Drums for GGD. Lovely people. So yeah, I'll be doing that. Got a video coming up for the Eventide Anthology as well. And a video for Produce Like a Pro Academy, for the Pro Mix Academy, different thing, about the new limiter that's in Reaper. Reaper now has its own inbuilt limiter called, funnily enough, Relimiter. And it's pretty good, actually. So yeah, that's the thing that's in there. Yeah, I've got loads of videos to film. I've got this wonderful purple Telecaster, which some of you may have seen on the channel. There we go. And if you haven't seen it, check this out. It is beautiful and full of reflections. But yeah, very, very shiny. But the bridge pickup, I don't like.
One?
What?
Is that the one that used to be green?
No, still got that.
All right.
This is from LT Customs down south. This is a very custom guitar. But yeah, the bridge pickup, I don't like it at all. So Alchemy Pickups have now sent me the most ridiculous bridge pickup for that. So that's one of the videos tomorrow, is doing an install of a pickup.
Ooh.
Yeah, and I got all the new amp switcher working via a Stream Deck. So that's another video I'm going to be doing. Is the and I've now got 2 Stream Decks, which is a little excessive, but I got kind of a I've not decided which one's going where yet, but I've got a regular sized one, which is one of them. And I've got...
Yeah, that's what I've got, yeah.
And I've got the XL. Yeah. So one of
Haven't you
them's
got a
going...
tiny one as well?
No, I never got the Mini.
Right.
So, yeah, I've only just got this. This is the Mark II, new one, apparently. It's the same, but just shinier. And so one will be at Studio A to switch the amps and do OBS things, and one will be in Studio B to do all the broadcast and mix video stuff. Yeah, so it looks like I'll be mixing one of Mike Mallion from Monuments' solo tracks, because I'm also editing the video for that. So that's going to be a live on stream thing.
Cool. That'll be fun.
That will be fun. And while I was there, Mike did me the honour of playing the drums for what's going to be the new version of the theme tune.
Ooh.
So yeah, where it was a drum loop before that was just slosh, slosh, slosh. Now it's one of the best drummers in the world. In one of the best drum rooms in the world. Ah! So now I've got to make good on that and get in here and use the proper amps and all that kind of stuff and make it the best that it can be, because then it'll be awesome and I can say the theme tune is awesome. So yeah, that's gone a long way from being a theme tune that I initially whipped up in my old bedroom in my old flat nearly 10 years ago to being something truly epic. So I'm very happy with how that's going to be shaken up. But of course that is all going to be done live on the channel when we do mixing and recording streams. So they are on the cards for the start of April. So
awesome.
That'll be exciting.
That fun.
Lots of filming and editing to do before then. And I'll be spending a lot of next week with John Brown filming a mystery guest. So I'll be spending the evenings editing, so you won't see much of me next week. Hello Marty, hello Behringer, hello Danny, hello everybody. Welcome.
Hello.
Yes.
Hello.
What a week it has been, though. And yeah, it's I need to tidy this place up again because everything's been pulled out like an excited kid pulling out the toys. But everything's coming together. I've got a second Marshall JCM 800, and I genuinely don't remember who I got that from, when I got it, or why. It's just there.
You forget about it?
Well, I didn't forget about it. I just can't remember if it was from a trade or if it was from like a Facebook Marketplace sale and I bought it. I can't remember. But yeah, I got another 50 watt JCM 800 because what I think is going to happen is my 100 watt head is going to be modified by Dan Gower from Gower Amps at some point to be one of the most awesome Marshalls that was never made, technically. But like, Massive Wagons are a good example. They're a really up-and-coming band right now. They're recording their new album with Colin Richardson, who's one of the most accomplished rock and metal producers of all time. And they're recording that amp mostly with a Gower modded Marshall. So that's an indication of, should do that. But yeah, I met Nolly on Monday morning. He's currently on paternity leave. He's got a lovely little baby. And so, being a speaker nerd, and I'm a speaker nerd, we said, yeah, when he's back working, we'll probably do a video together talking nerdy speaker stuff. And that is going to be awesome. Me and Nolly, and maybe Paul from Zilla Cabs, because he's a speaker nerd as well. The three of us doing a bit of a roundtable discussion of nerdy speaker stuff. That could make for a very interesting video. So, yes, stay tuned for that. See what I mean? It's been a heck of a week. A lot of things have kind of been planned and come together. Like, oh my word. So, yeah, Billy in chat says, see Massive Wagons, they are epic. Yeah. So, their new album, which they've almost finished now, they're recording with one of the most notable producers in the world. So, that's going to be their breakout, I reckon. They're going to go from a band a few people know about and rave about to big. So yeah, very much looking forward to that. Now, a lot has also happened in the news. Do we want to talk about the news?
Let's do the news.
Let's do the news. 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 That has moved itself a little, I think. There we go. So, let's start with our headline. Line 6 DL4 Mark II. It's out. We talked about it last week, I think, on the podcast, but it's now official. It's now a real thing. It's smaller than the original. Hopefully, it's bulletproof.
Bulletproof. You use it to protect yourself.
Well, you could with the old one. It was like a PUBG frying pan, the old one. But yeah, this one's still pretty chunky by the look of things. It's more affordable than something like the Helix units. And it's got all the classic controls. And it's got twice as many modes. And apparently more secret modes. But we'll have to find out what that's all about. So yeah, there's vintage digital mode. Ooh. And legacy modes, which is all the classic DL4 stuff. So yeah, lots and lots of choices you can go for there. And it's even got the looper stuff as well. Yeah, Poo Ninja says it looks like a tank, and I'm inclined to agree. It's got MIDI. USB-C is always a nice thing to see, which I'm guessing means it can be updated as well as controlled remotely. Oh, microphone level input, always useful for things like crazy delay units. Expression pedal for extra foot switches. Yeah, this thing is made to be an all-out monster. So yeah, there you go. I'm not going to spend all day talking about it just because we talked about it in quite a bit of depth on the previous podcast. But easy to use, great sounds. You want one? You can probably now get them. Yeah, they're available to buy at Toman. I'm guessing the release is either now or very, 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 very soon. Yeah, they've updated everything that counts. Like if you're using the looper, you can put a micro SD card in now and have several hours of looping rather than 4 minutes. So why you would want to do that, I don't know. You could just do like a 3-hour jam, and at the end, when you get bored and stop, you go and have a cup of tea and then jump out of your skin when the amp starts playing itself all over again. But yeah, some people want that kind of thing, I guess. Or maybe you could load in pre-made loops and play with them and use that as a basis for something creative. So that's always a thing. Now, moving on. Steinberg, countdown to Nuendo 12. So Cubase 12 has been announced. It was inevitable that Nuendo 12 would come out because Nuendo is kind of the prettified, all guns blazing film version of Cubase. And yeah, so usually it does extra stuff. Apparently there's exclusive new features for ADR, language dubbing, binaural mixing, and more. Now, when I saw the words binaural mixing, my ears went, ooh, hello, because that's something that, interestingly, you should be able to do now in the new version of Logic, which is less than $200, I think, whereas this is currently on sale for €800, so like $1,000. Which is significantly more. But one thing that I do always remember about Nuendo versus Cubase is even back when I was using Nuendo 3, so 15, 18 years ago, it had all the licenses for slightly more obscure formats, film formats, where Cubase wouldn't, like the Dolby 5.1 AC3 format, when they came out like DTS HD and all that kind of stuff that you generally don't find those kind of export options on your Common Garden audio software. But the film versions you do, but that's part of the reason why it's more expensive, is that the licenses have to be paid for, and that's then included there. Which is, yeah, it's not fun, but it's the legitimate reason why the film versions cost more money. Because it means then you've got the licenses to go to a film house and go, I can mix your film and give you the Dolby Digital or Dolby Atmos now files in the proper compressed format to put on your Blu-ray or Netflix or whatever it is. Because, yeah, that's another thing. Like mixing in Pro Tools for something like film, you would end up giving wave files to the film house, who would then need to have bought the licenses to turn that into the Dolby Digital stuff, and that apparently that's an extra cost, whereas if you could just give them the files, then that's done. I think we did that before. I don't think I used Nuendo, though. I think when we did the DVD production several years back, I might have used... I think it was Adobe Encore actually came with Dolby Digital license at that time. But
what did we do in Dolby?
The Moto Voodoo DVD.
Oh, is that in Dolby?
Yeah, well, I don't think it was 5.1, but it was Dolby Stereo, which is that's the standard for DVDs. But to do it, you need licenses, and I think the stereo was a lot cheaper than the 5.1. But yeah, oh, Scott's in chat. Hey, hello, Scott. For anyone who's not seen the video that Scott put out, he is well. His family is well. They're now in Germany, in very close proximity to Henning, so the clothes are now becoming multicolour as we speak. But yeah, good to see you, and good to know you're okay. So yes, that is very good news. It's no matter how bad my week has been, it's nowhere near as bad as the last couple of weeks that Scott has had. But yeah, yeah. I'm still meaning to send Scott a couple of things. I've got a pair of high X55s with your name on it, by the way. So just need to get them sent to you, because I'm running around like a Looney Tune. So hopefully I'll get them over to you so you can then use something you know to mix with. Hey. But yes, let's move on with the news. With one of, in my opinion, the worst thought out guitars of the last 30 years. And there's been a lot of badly thought out guitars. The Gibson Theodore. So Ted McCarty, who made the Les Paul what it was an absolute design hero. Also kind of pencil sketched out a guitar design that became the Theodore and was never made. And so, yeah, and so Gibson decided, because they're stupid, to actually make it. And oh my word, $5,000 for this thing that looks a bit like a lute. And yeah, I don't know why they've done this, because it's a nice idea.
Very weird.
Very weird indeed. It's one of those where I can completely understand why it remained as a drawing and never got anywhere, because he probably woke up the next day and looked at it and went, nah. Yeah, so it's, yeah, exactly what Poonin just said. If you want that shape, Music Man are doing the Mariposa, which is actually a better shape than this, but it's very of its time and would have been interesting to have left as a drawing in the museum. Why? Especially at $5,000, double why. Yeah, but that's yeah, and there was supposed to be kind of doing better things recently, Gibson, and then they drop a clanger like this. It's like, guys, maybe don't do that. But I mean, there's no ergonomics to it or anything. The pin is in the wrong place for ergonomics. This is matching. They've got the hockey stick headstock, which again, in my personal opinion, is the worst Gibson headstock. Because it's also kind of the Kramer headstock, and it's, yeah. But there, if you want one, yeah, Toman, product not found.
Yeah, this is we're good. We're good.
Yes, absolutely. Now, moving on from something terrible to something that's terrible in a different way. Cymatic Audio is a company that I've used their gear before. They have closed, unfortunately. So what Cymatic Audio always did is hardware-based recorders and players that did multi-track stuff. And so, yeah, they are no longer a thing. They were very reliable, which is I think why people used them, because you could have like up to 24 tracks of audio, and hit play and it would play them all. But they were made at a time when it was difficult to have any other option. I think there are so many digital desks now that, like, most of the front of house engineers that I know already have something like a MacBook next to them. And when they're doing a sound check for big venues, what they'll do very often is they will, because when a venue is really huge like an arena, you don't really worry about feedback anymore, because the singers, guitarists, whoever, are so far away from the amps and from monitor wedges, because most of them are on in-ears. You're not worried about that. So what you can do is you can just press play on a multi-track playback in a venue as if the band was there for soundcheck, and you can do most of your nerdy, tweaky stuff whilst the band is just sipping a cup of tea backstage. But the guys used to use stuff like this, and it's just, most don't need it now, because you can just connect like a Thunderbolt cable or whatever it is through from your MacBook through to your desk and just hit play. One thing that I have seen as well, Cymatic used to make a USB recording device that could slot into a Behringer X32. Very cool, and it could just record every track. And then Behringer said, "Hey, that's a good idea. Let's make our own." And so they just did it. And so I think that part has kind of killed these guys. And yeah, so now this article is looking at alternative options, which are very expensive for what is just playback. That, I mean, like, this one from the Joko Black Box is approximately £2,000. That's way more than a MacBook and an interface.
Mm-hmm.
That I could just do that with, and then I've got a MacBook. You know.
Ooh, in other news, I got a MacBook.
Huh. Is that to play back all your tracks through for live sound?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I started to do the really clever thing, and on a whim, just go and buy a MacBook on my credit card.
Crazy, man.
Well, I was looking at the second-hand ones, like I said last week. You know, the ones that were like half broken and stuff.
Yeah.
And then I was like, well, I can't really afford one, but my credit card can.
Oh, man.
So I'll just pay it off in bits. I've got a crazy credit card. I don't know how I ever got given it. I never use it, but it's like an 8% credit card. So,
Whoa.
yeah. So it's like I should really use that because that's really cheap money. That's like just over inflation.
That's yeah. I mean, you don't really have the free time to be screwing around with a broken old MacBook anyway.
No.
And if I remember rightly, that's not really your kind of favourite thing anyway, with tinkering with that kind of thing, whereas I would be quite happy to do that. I can't see you doing that, at least not for very long. It's not a very, it's not the kind of thing that you would wake up in the morning and be like, let's take a screwdriver to the MacBook, hey.
Yeah, no, definitely not a MacBook. A computer maybe, but like, 'cause I've still got my other laptop, my beefy one, but like it's like yours. It's not. It's a portable computer. It's not a laptop.
Yeah,
I wanted something that I could actually shut the lid on. And when I looked at them, and like, this has got an 18-hour battery life.
Whoa.
And it actually is as well. Like, we were saying about like the iPads. It's like that. I mean, it's brand new, so obviously it's going to be good at the moment. But like, you just shut the lid and come back to it, and it's gone down 1% from the day before. Whereas my beefy laptop, if I shut the lid on that, leave it for 20 minutes, it'll be dead. So
Mad.
So has Behringer killed this company then? Is that what you're saying?
I get the feeling they have. Apparently, its parent company, Riedel, has wound up the business. So that's... Yeah, I think that... Well, I think that this company were making products at a time when they were needed, and that time has gone.
Yeah. A bit like Matrox.
Yeah, exactly that. Where it's a kind of product where the niche it served has now been covered by the general masses.
Yeah, just by computers.
yeah, the inevitable march of technology and improving
Hmm.
standards and all that kind of stuff. And it seems like they've not kind of moved the company forward. And so, but they have a parent company, so I guess it's just that the brand name and those products are being wound up. But yeah, I don't know. And there are alternatives as well if you're absolutely desperate. But yeah, so there you go.
Is there any use case for it now in today's world?
I mean, if you need rock solid multi-track playback, then you could get one, and you know it's not going to break. So there is that, but I mean, like I say, you can do that with a MacBook,
Yeah.
and they don't really crash. Not like 5 or 10 years ago, you would have a laptop and a backup laptop and a backup laptop because one would break inevitably. With stuff like a basic playback system, you probably wouldn't need that now.
Mm.
You probably
Especially
have,
with. Oh,
yeah.
go on.
So to say, I mean, if it's an arena show, you'd probably still have a backup. But if it's anything less than arenas, you'd probably just have the sound engineer's personal laptop in his bag that just has a backup on just in case and never ever gets used like that.
And now that Macs have gone to their own architecture again, then that stability, as we know, if it carries on anything like the PowerPC days, will just make it rock solid. Like they only started to crash when they became Intel. Like when it's
Oh,
all when it's
I
all
could
one
debate that
manufacturer.
all day, but yeah, yeah. I
I don't
mean,
know. I think
crashy.
I think it's obvious that it depends on your configuration. But we've said this before. Like if one company is making all the parts, then they're going to be made to talk to each other perfectly. When
Yeah, I think with the M1 and that kind of thing, yeah, absolutely. Because I mean, we know how stable iPads are because it's an integrated system.
yeah,
And
exactly.
yeah, you're absolutely right. With now more than ever, it's so turnkey system. I mean, people complain that I can't upgrade my Mac. Yeah, I get it, and I get annoyed by that too. But on the other side of it, it is a fully functioning, working single unit.
Yeah.
And if you want reliable, yeah,
Yeah,
most of
that
the
is it. I
yeah,
mean, it's the right to repair it, which doesn't have to be. They don't have to be like separate, really, do they? I think you can still
no,
have the right to repair and not necessarily make it too upgradable. But
yeah,
you're right. Like as soon as you start upgrading it, then well, let's think you're upgrading it in 3 years' time. So now RAM has improved. So now you put in
yeah.
slightly newer versions of RAM in that haven't been tested exactly with that logic board to the same level that the RAM when they first got built was, and all those sorts of things.
Mm. Well, to me, right to repair and upgradability are two very different things.
Yeah.
To me, it doesn't need to be upgradable. It just needs to be replaceable.
Hmm.
Which
Well, yeah, but so that is similar though.
I don't think so. Like if I get a car, for instance, talking about right to repair, if the
Hmm.
engine starts to break, I'm not going to put a Ferrari engine in. I'm going to put the same engine in. It's
Mm.
right to repair to make it work as intended. The upgrade, that's a separate conversation.
Yeah, but
That is,
as soon as you stop soldering in the memory though, then you can put any memory in you want.
yeah, that's true. That
Which
that is,
I am all for though. I mean, I don't really know what. I think it's a matter of just the public understanding that yeah, if you're gonna upgrade it, there is
mm,
genuinely real chance it won't be as stable no matter what you do because
yeah.
it's not all being tested.
I mean, yes, that's the issue, isn't it? But I mean, if I remember rightly, the RAM is now sold. It's actually on the die in the M1 stuff.
Yeah, I think it's just all in one thing, isn't it? Pretty much.
Yeah, so there was no logical way to replace that anyway. So yeah, I get that because again, stability, it's literally on the same piece of silicon.
Hmm.
But yeah, then let's say the screen breaks in a slightly older M1 Mac. I think you definitely should be allowed and able to replace that. Not necessarily with something better, but it should be easy for you to then pop the old one off and pop a new one on.
Hmm.
Or at least the company shouldn't be actively stopping you from doing so.
Yeah, well, that's what
That's the
Apple cares
key.
for, though, isn't it? That's the thing.
Yeah.
They want to charge you for Apple Care. They don't. They don't want you to repair it outside of their ecosystem.
Yeah, well, that's the right to repair, is the right to do it yourself. Yeah,
Exactly.
I
I'm
mean,
not
if you
saying
don't
that's right.
want to, if you don't want to do it yourself and you want to pay Apple to do it, hey, I'm not going to stop people. But if you don't want, that's when it gets murky. But yeah, that's a conversation for another day because we could go around in circles about that stuff. It's blah. But there you go.
So this is defunct, and probably should be.
Yes,
But
long
it's sad.
live. Yeah, Cymatic is dead. Long live the king.
Mhm.
Talking of a dead product, this one's made a return. The old Boss RE20 Space Echo is now available as the RE2 that we've sneak previewed, and the RE202, which we have
Ooh,
not seen up until now.
that
Very,
looks cool.
very, yeah. So I or my dad, one of us has got somewhere a Boss pedal that's kind of a dual pedal kind of version of this, but this is newer, shinier, probably sounds more like the original proper grungy, spacey Echo stuff. The RE2, the little one, of course, will fit on a board really nicely. If you've got more space on your board, you get space for more controls. And something that's a little prettier has more controls for turning off and on the separate reverb from the Echo, tap tempo, and yeah, more fun by the look of it. Go away. There we go. And so there's a lot packed into this little RE2. There's three jacks there and two on the other side, so it's got separate control. Yeah, there's lots going on. It's got as many controls as an old Boss Metal Zone, if not more. But yeah, it's hard to see what's going on inside because it's a compact pedal. I mean, that's the sacrifice you got to make. Also, not cheap at £210 for. It's quite a lot of money for a single Boss enclosure.
Yeah, it is.
And yeah, the RE202 has you can see a lot more of what's going on with like which echo heads are engaged and how much saturation there is and all the kind of finer details if that's really really your thing. That's £333, so it's a 50% price bump, but looking at it more than a 50% usability bump as well. So depending on just how much you absolutely positively have to have control of everything, this might be the one for you. And it's not that big, especially compared to a real Space Echo, which is about the size of a breeze block. I was playing with a real Space Echo at Middle Farm. Yeah, big, very big. Yeah, it's got statistics. It's digital, but it's 48K 24-bit with conversion in numbers. 32-bit floating point. Ooh. So apparently it sounds good. It's got MIDI as well. So you can MIDI control the 202 one. Yeah, very nice. So yeah, there's all the details. If you want one, go and get one. Here's something that we have no details on. Universal Audio, or UAD, I've talked about Spark, a new product that is going to be announced by the next podcast. That's all they've said. Nothing else. And that's really annoying. But there you go. It exists. And that's all they're going to tell us. That's it. There's a logo that resembles a flower. No hints on whether it's hardware or software yet, but keep an ear to the ground, and I'm sure we'll tell you. So there you go. Yeah, keep an ear out for the UAD Spark. Moving on, we talked a little while back about Arturia getting really annoyed with Behringer for making an almost exact clone of their keystep keyboard. And now CME have kind of done the same thing, which is very cheeky of them. But there is a key difference, and they've called this the Swiddy, which is, you'll have heard me on the channel talking about Widdy, which is a very silly name, Widdy. I've got a pile of Widdy products at the back of the room here, which I'm going to be making a video on, hopefully tomorrow. Wireless MIDI. So that's the interesting difference here. Is this is completely wireless. So it's got the keystep style controls and it can do all that kind of cool stuff. But you don't need to plug it in, which means you can use it really easily with iPads or other stuff. Like CME have made in the past some really nice wireless keyboards. Yeah, this is where it gets a bit cheeky. Because, I wonder... The Behringer Swing, which is the knockoff of the Arturia keystep, and the Swiddy from CME look identical. I wonder... Because, CME have just announced the Swiddy. It's inspired by Behringer. I wonder if it's actually Behringer that are making it for them. That would make logical sense to me.
Right, yeah.
Because then they can white label it. There's no conflict of interest because they're being paid. And the only key difference is going to be that there's extra hardware in there to support the wireless MIDI functionality. Which, yeah, I mean, there's nothing on here that's going to be confirming it. There's no anything on the back in terms of nothing to plug into at all. But yeah, Bluetooth wireless MIDI, which is super low latency as well, as it says in the article. It genuinely is. Like you touch the key and the note's already coming out. It's really quite impressive. Yeah, I'll send the guys at CME an email about this and see if I can get hold of one, because like I said, tomorrow I'm going to do a video on their WIDI dongles, which you can add to pre-existing keyboards and other MIDI devices. So yeah, that's something. Like, I've got the little Matthews Effects Futurist around here somewhere, the little MIDI controller, which I'm going to be using in the video to remotely control the amp switcher. And if I put a wireless MIDI dongle on that, and then one on the switcher, that I can then go into the live room and wirelessly start switching amps.
Mm-hmm.
We're starting to get into space age territory at that point.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so there's a lot of really cool stuff. And yeah, being able to then play remotely as well means that you can move around the stage and do your little strap it to you and play guitar on stage. Why not? Now, moving on, this is something that I thought, not more speakers, but I almost bought them earlier. M Audio have introduced the BX3 and BX4 BT, so the Bluetooth versions of their tiny little monitor speakers. They are tiny, they're not going to have a decent bass response, but depending on what you need, that might be fine. The reason I nearly bought these is that in Studio B, which is my editing room, I currently have no speakers at all. Because the option is headphones with a nice balanced headphone amp. They sound great, but every now and again, I just don't want to be wearing headphones. I can't get particularly critical about the sound, but I just want something coming out while I'm doing something. And sometimes I want to do something like connect my phone to those speakers and just play a video or something whilst I'm doing other things. Because being a video editor, sometimes I've got to do my paperwork as well as mixing. Sometimes I want to have some music on that I don't want to be overly critical. Sometimes I want to check things on cheap-ass sounding speakers, But that's the thing. It says these are 120 watt amp modules, which is complete horse manure because they're 25 watt RMS. So they're a 25 watt speaker, despite what that marketing number would tell you. But I wouldn't be expecting a lot of volume out of this, and I would never actually turn them up anywhere near that. And so, yeah, they actually have, because it's such a low power thing, the power amp goes in one speaker, and then there's just a cable that connects them, like the old cheap PC speakers you used to get, if you remember them. Where you would plug one into the AC and then just have a line running to the other one. But yeah, they're the Bluetooth versions of these. The small ones are $130. The big ones are $180. I can't. It says they're available immediately, but I tried looking on every retailer in the UK, and no one's got these right now. The non-Bluetooth small ones are like £79, which for a pair I thought, you know what? Because I know what I would be getting from that, I kind of don't mind.
Right.
And the other requirement for me is that they had to be small. Because I've only got so much space under the chins of the monitors where I could kind of put them sideways and just kind of stick them in. But I would know in advance never to trust these things as mix references. So there's that.
So what? So why? So why then? If you're not using them as references, yeah. Why would you go for them?
Because they're cheap, and they'll probably sound okay. And the Bluetooth functionality means I'll be able to connect an iPad or a phone or whatever to them without screwing about, without extra cables, without any extra mess. You know, and I could just occasionally listen to something on them and just go, does anything sound awful?
Yeah.
Not to go, is this the be-all and end-all of small speakers, but just to go, And, yeah. If they were any more expensive than this, I would absolutely 100% not recommend it. But they were just in that price range where I almost was like, maybe. Definitely wouldn't spend the extra money on the 4.5-inch speaker, because what you're trying to do, get more low end out of these little cardboard cube things? No. No point. Don't spend the extra money. But the lower price set was almost tempting. And I just decided in the end, you know what, I don't really need them. But yeah, it's a tempting proposition to have. They might even be good for some people as like a secondary monitor to switch to, that you know that they're not very good quality, they've not got very good bass response. Just to listen out for nastiness. If there's any particular frequency that's suddenly on your second set of monitors, you go, yow! Could be good for that. Yeah, like Pooh Ninja said, 79 isn't horrible if you need a little something just to listen to. That's kind of what I was thinking, but yeah. There you go. So, it's time for everybody's favourite segment. Behringer Corner, Behringer Corner.
The corner. The killer of playback devices.
Yes. And the creator of a DAW. They've announced free plugins for its free DAW.
They have a DAW? Did I know this?
It's not out yet. There've been rumblings about it, but they have now announced free plugins for their free DAW. Like, this is their...
call it like Reaper or Bro Tools.
Bro Tools would be great. If they could call it Bro Tools. Bro. That would be hilarious.
Because, I mean, surely any DAW that they have is going to have exactly the same UI as something that already exists. Because, I mean, it's Behringer, right?
Yeah. So it comes with their UBXA plugin, which someone's making for them, which is the Tom Sawyer sounds, that Oberheim OBXA. Which, of course, up until recently, Behringer had the Oberheim brand. So there's that. But yeah, it says some of the new plugins will be free, some will be available for a small amount. Who knows how much. But yeah, they do have the entire team at TC Electronics that they own that are probably working on this. Because, yeah, TC Electronics, as it says, have made the Icon series plugins and the TC Finalizer, which was used by a lot of people back in the day. So they've got DSP engineers, or at least had those engineers. I don't know if they're still there. But we'll see. I know that Tor, who was the guy who made all the pedals, has left and now works for UA, so he's not going to be behind this. But yeah, if they work at it and if they do well enough, we might be seeing people using the Behringer DAW. Van Dien says Creeper. Like crap Reaper. Hmm.
Lol.
La 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 la. And also more Behringer. The JP4000, a hybrid modeling synthesizer in a teeny tiny box. It's like that thing from Aladdin. Ultimate power in a teeny little bit of space. It's a 4-voice clone of the Roland JP8000 hybrid synth with super saw waveform in a tiny little thing where they've actually had to put like little connectors on pretend that they're keys.
Did we not look at this last week?
We looked at something similar, but this one's different.
Right. All right.
Look at the size of it in his hand. That is teeny.
Yeah, because I remember saying like, could you even actually play that? And you said you probably wouldn't. It's something that you'd actually plug into something else and have another controller.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but if you wanted,
so how is this different to the last one for people like me that think it's the same thing?
So the yeah, pretty much. So what was it? The Pro VS. So that was the one. Was that the one last week?
No. It might have been last week, the week before. It was even tinier. It was definitely about that size.
Because that was one, but this is the new one. They make different sounds. This is like big dance music, massive sounds.
Right.
That instead of going, they go. But yeah, there you go. So yeah, LA Winter says just joined. So Little B has a DAW now. It's not out yet, but they keep announcing things. So yes, but yeah, the Behringer people have. Oh yeah, so was it the CS Mini, the Pro VS? They've released a lot of stuff, but this is by far the tiniest one, I think. But yeah, they're making more and more tiny synths that all sound like different classic units and behave like different classic units. So yeah, that's a thing. But there you go. That was Behringer Corner, and that was the news. You sending emails to the moon again?
Me, yeah. Moon emails.
If it's not an email, it's crypto juggling.
Yeah. Finished off an article about how apparently ExxonMobil are mining Bitcoin in their remotely on their oil farms. It's kind of cool. So basically, when they're oil rigs where there's all the excess methane that they have to just burn off because they can't use it because they're not facilitating it, they're now instead piping that into a system, and they've basically got trucks full of Bitman miners, and they're mining Bitcoin with it instead.
That's actually kind of clever.
Actually reducing like greenhouse gases and stuff. So oil giant uses Bitcoin to become more green.
Wait, what?
Yeah, I know, right?
Yeah. Oil giant uses crypto to improve CO2 levels. Mm-hmm. What?
True story.
Yeah.
Maybe that should have been my headline. My headline is going to be ExxonMobil mines 1 Bitcoin every day using natural gas. I kind of like the other one better now.
I mean, that's a hell of a headline if you can write that out properly. But
maybe.
Yeah. Yeah. Oil barons seek to solve world energy crisis by burning stuff. Hang on. Yeah, weird. But yeah, what a week it has been, and hopefully it will be calmed down significantly by this time next podcast, because woo boy, it's been many and a lot. But yes. Any questions from anybody in the chat? Now is the perfect time. Yes. Let's put these down because I don't know where I am these days. I've got so many things that are half finished. Like I've got a pop filter to put on a microphone I don't have with me. I've got more cabs to capture for 2 notes. Rob says, can you do a tutorial on recording eardrums using Reaper? Pretty sure I've done that twice. Yeah. It's pretty much just get the MIDI out, connect it to the computer, get drum recording software, live monitoring, turn on. It's very similar to the if you look at the Reaper 101 series that I did, there is a part on there that's all about VST drums. In which you're happy with the authentic drum sounds you're getting without any type of slate, etc. Well, in that case, if you don't want to use any VST drums, but you want the sound out of your drum module, but you want it to sound good, I probably can't help you, because if it's a stereo out from the drum kit, there is no magical fix for that. You need good tones at the source. And the way that the guys like Slate Drums or Superior Drummer do it is they give you the separate sources to play with. So it is a lot of work, but it's the same amount of work as it is working with a real drummer with real drums. So it's more of a drum tutorial in general. Yeah. And yeah, Van Deen says, are they a pair of DT100s? Yeah, DT100s. How do they compare with the cup size against the 770s? They're bigger. They are huge. They're all battleships. And could you mix on them? Not at all. They sound horrible. They are really good for tracking in a studio because they've got really good isolation comparatively. They're very hard to break. Those are the two things. Cons, everything else. They're expensive. They sound bad. They look ugly. You know. But I had them here because I've used them to check something. So, yes, you can use them to hammer in nails and they'll probably be fine. But yeah, good old DT100s. Not for mixing, not for good sound, but good to have in a professional environment because people will drop them and they will not break. Would I recommend any templates for Reaper using Contact to get into composing music for video games? No. No, I wouldn't. Absolutely not. My philosophy has always been make your own templates, make your own. Find sounds and sample libraries that you like that will inspire you. Set them all up so that they're very easy to get hold of on a quick kind of choose this one, choose that one basis. And then save that as a template, because I don't know what kind of game you're making. I don't know what kind of themes they're going to want. I don't know what kind of genre, whether it's happy, sad, whether it's electronic, whether it's not electronic. Those are the kind of things that you have to establish with a game company on their IP before you even begin. So for me to try and recommend sample sets and templates and presets would mean that your work would sound exactly like everybody else's and you probably wouldn't get a call back. Your composition, whether it's for a game or whether it's for anything else, has to be very you. Not cookie cutter, not generic. Because otherwise, you've got to keep up with the Joneses, and the way to keep up with the Joneses is do your own thing, but, you know, do it in your own way. Any thoughts on the II low latency wireless headphones? I have not heard of them, I'm afraid. I don't know them. Danny says, can you render freeze tracks individually when reusing reinserts and hardware? I know this has been a bit of an issue, and I don't know a way around it right now. The only way to really fix that is to print them. And the way to print them is you make a new track and send the reinserted track out to a new track and change the record mode to record output latency compensated, because by right clicking on the record you can change it from recording the input so it doesn't record down any plugins or anything to record output, which actually just makes a new file with everything baked in. That's one way of doing it, because that will then make you a new file. That's the way that it's been done in Pro Tools and places like that forever. It's a bit of a kind of a... It should work to render or freeze with reinsert, but it currently doesn't. But I will try and ask the Reaper guys about that next time I get a chance and see if that's something they can do. because it does seem pretty important. But they have been working on M1 native stuff for Reaper, so they've had that on their plate a lot recently. And talking of M1 native, there've been a lot more M1 native plugins released very, very recently. Like Plugin Alliance have released a lot of their stuff as M1 in the last week. And it's looking like a lot of the industry, now that the iLok M1 stuff is out, they're almost ready all at once. So I reckon in the next few months, we're going to see a lot of companies not only have M1 native stuff ready, but then they'll be able to breathe a sigh of relief and go back to working on other more creative stuff. Because I think that's been a bit of a hold-up for a lot of plugin developers, because they've had to focus a lot of energy on this new thing of making their software compatible with M1. That's taking them away from the other more cool things that they may have been working on previously, or ideas they've had. But, pressing need like that needs to be addressed early. So, yeah. That's the thing. I know that Guillaume at Blue Cat has just made all his plugins M1 native, and that's taken him months. I was talking to him about that. And yeah, I would more than likely assume that guys like Slate Digital have been doing that for over a year, because they've got a lot going on. But yeah, now that the iLok stuff is out, that's going to happen. Yeah, so yeah, Danny says that's how he's been doing it. So yeah, that's... I wish there was a better way, and I wish there was something that I could tell you. It's been a problem for me too, that I've had to, if I've got, say, a master bus with a bus compressor in analog using reinsert, I've then had to do the online render, which works fine, because with analog gear you kind of expect that, but you don't have the option of doing it any other way. So something that would probably be helpful for other people in the future. But yeah, I think that's all the questions that have come in this week, and that's all we got time for. So thank you everybody for tuning in. I'm going to go and probably sleep on the sofa for a little while because I'm exhausted.
Well, there is a bed upstairs, but just let us know if you're using it, because we'll come in with the dogs otherwise, and you'll get attacked by Rogue.
Hey, will do. Oh yeah, but first I'm going to go and cash out my winning scratch card.
Or are you going to get another one?
No, absolutely not. Oh, did I tell you and everyone that I won on a scratch card?
Yeah.
Yeah.
At the beginning, yeah.
Completely just out of the blue. Bizarre, but there you go. Life
Very
has
cool.
ups and downs.
I've bought plenty of scratch cards from that shop, and the most I've ever won is enough to buy another one.
Oh boy.
I think once upon a time I won like 10 quid, and then in my head now, I'm up still.
Oh boy. No, it's I don't do that. I generally don't gamble at all. I just, for some reason, just had this weird, you should do this. Oh. And yeah, there you go. But yeah, have a great week, everybody. Oh, go on.
Yes, I was going to say the same thing. I was going to say, have a great week, everyone who's out there. And we will see you same time next week.
Same time, same channel. Goodbye. Although, maybe not same time, depending on your, time difference with summertime and all that kind of stuff. Apparently, we're broadcasting at a different time this week in Canada. But yeah, apparently that'll be back to normal soon. So yes, 8 p.m. whatever our time zone is.
Yeah, that really screwed me up. I agreed a meeting with someone in America, but before they changed to daylight savings time, but also before they put it in the calendar. So then they put it in the calendar, and I was like, oh, right, okay, yeah, it's that day. And then 2 days later, it moved forward, and I completely missed, or almost missed the thing. That was really annoying. Like, why are they not? They're getting rid of it though. I think Americans. I think in 2024, I believe that they're going to move to daylight savings time, and then it's going to stay. Like, they're not going to move back in.
But we're not, so that's going to make it worse.
I know, but we should do the same. Like, it's just stupid.
Yeah, we should, and hopefully someday we will. But today is not that day.
Aww.
But
okay.
yes,
bye, everybody.
Until then, bye.
Bye.
Hey everyone, that might be the end of the video, but if you fancy carrying on this conversation, we have a Discord server, link is in the description. We're also on Patreon, which is something you can really help us with. We also are on Facebook, Instagram and Twitter at Hop Hole Studios. See you there.